Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of BVS Film Productions Final Cuts. Today we have a special guest, Dean Mercado. He is a #1 best-selling author, a keynote speaker, a digital marketing coach and strategist, and CEO of Online Marketing Muscle. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
I'll make sure. Good. Well, hey, Dean, great to have you here, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and let's start with that.
Fantastic. Dan, I'm thrilled to be here with you, man. This should be a fun conversation. Who am I? I mean, wow. Who am I not? I mean, at this age, when we get to this age, we become a lot of different things, right? We play a lot of different roles.
A lot of hands.
Yeah, essentially, I came up through the more traditional ways of doing things with their traditional programming. You go to school, you get a job, you start a family, that kind of thing. So I did the corporate America thing after college for about a dozen years, and then finally came to the realization, you know what? I truly am an entrepreneur at heart. All those lawns I mowed as a kid, all those driveways I shoveled as a kid, that inner entrepreneur was always there. Yeah. So after about a dozen years, I said, you know what? My feet were sleeping. I got to get out there. I got to try it on my own. If I could just make a small little bit of what I make for these companies for myself, life would be great, right? Right. Only to find out that I didn't know what I didn't know, and I got my rear end kicked everywhere because I just didn't know. I thought I'm this smart guy. I got all these college degrees. Didn't matter. I didn't know what I was getting into. Yeah. So. You know,
so what did you start when you went out there, hanging a shingle? What'd you put out there? What were you saying who you were?
Right. Well, I came out of it, my college degree was in IT, and then my master's degree was in business, like in like an MBA type thing.
Yeah.
So I figured, corporate America was playing in the IT industry, building big computer networks all around the world. And I figured, let me do more of that. Mm-hmm. Only to find out after a couple of years, what it was like to have bad business partners and what it was like to also grow to hate what you were doing. And I was looking at it, I'm like, I don't like this industry. I'm way too social of an animal to be in charge of a lot of people who don't want to come out of a wiring closet. So it really was just a weird fit for me.
Yeah.
And I just, it took a little time for me to figure out that it's just the wrong place for me to play.
Yeah.
And I need to find where I needed to go. And so I started out, let's start an IT company. I did that once or twice, realized I hated it badly. Yeah. And then I figured out after some time off, I figured out, the parts I like about it. I like doing this. I like doing that. And that's where Online Marketing Muscle came to be, was out of that little bit of soul searching.
Right.
After IT.
IT too. I mean, it's changing so rapidly.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Especially when you were in there, man, you had to stay right on top of it, or the guy right next door would be the same, he'd be on it already,
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. I mean, we were coming through, I don't know if you may remember, I don't know if your audience will, Y2K. Do you remember the big whole everything's going to stop at the year 2000. Every computer's going to shut down.
Put it under the mattress.
It was crazy. But, back then it was like happy days for the computer companies because everybody was buying equipment hand over fist.
Yeah.
And they were very quick to separate with their money because they knew they couldn't have their business shut down because of technology.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, fortunately, and unfortunately for some of those who wanted to see the catastrophe, it didn't happen like that.
Right.
Thank goodness, or else it would have been a very chaotic world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's how far back I guess this goes.
Yeah.
Into the last century.
Heck, I took money out of our, I went to our corporate bank and I'm like, dig it out and put it under a pillow for a while.
Right, exactly.
Like, wait, everything's okay? All right.
Yeah, now everything's cloud-based. I mean, back then you had to have all different kinds of equipment, the switches and the routers, and now people don't have to think about any of that.
Right.
Email servers. I mean, we had to do all of that stuff back then. Now it's different planet. It's just a different planet.
Right. Yeah. So then after that, you went into what?
Yeah, I started up Online Marketing Muscle, and we're almost on our 20th year.
Wow.
So, I mean, we've, and when I started Online Marketing Muscle, I mean, as crazy as this might sound, I mean, the internet really wasn't a big thing yet. You know, it was kind of just getting its feet underneath it. Businesses was starting to figure out, hey, we can use this for business.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a toy. And I got laughed at, man. I got laughed at by people that were saying, "What, are you crazy? Why? I thought you were this smart guy. You got all these college degrees and you're going to start an internet business? What's wrong? What are you, an idiot?" You know, like that kind of thing. I thought you was
going to be around long.
It's just a fad. The internet thing is just a fad. And I'm like, okay, that's not the way I'm seeing it, but that's all right. And thank goodness I was right. Yeah. You know, because almost 20 years later, I'm still here and online marketing muscle is still functioning.
Right. Right. Wow.
So yeah, we're kind of a pioneer, I guess you would call it, in that, you know, space.
Okay. So what exactly do you do at Online Marketing Muscle? I love that name, by the way. It's a great name.
Thank you. Well, it has a lot to do with muscle, has a lot to do with adding muscle to companies that we work with. Mm-hmm. So it's gone through numerous iterations over the years. And what I mean by that is technology's changed a lot, as you know, over the last 20 years. So online marketing muscles had to grow with that. The majority, you know, we've done everything from web design to SEO. We were building websites. We used to have to convince people of why they need a website, why they need a website for their company. So websites, SEO, content marketing, we were doing a lot over the years. Mm-hmm. A lot of what we focus on now is strategy and marketing and sales automation, leveraging higher technologies to really make your business a lot simpler to grow and ultimately scale.
Right.
So as people are starting to see these new technologies, we're helping them adopt and adapt them into their business.
Yeah. So I'm going to say the nasty word, AI, right?
Yes, AI is.
Tell me how you're integrating that. Are you getting?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, it plays a lot in so many different ways. But for the most part, people have to be careful with it. As we start to lose our soul, you know, we start to lose what makes us us. And I don't say that lightly, but right now it's being used big time in a more of a supportive role, where we'll use it in terms of idea generation or ideation, as we call it. We'll use it to outline possibilities for content creation going forward. Hey, we're going to create a piece around this. Here's some ideas, and we'll use AI to tap into some of that. But I mean, you could do so much more with AI now. You could have it do all of your SEO work for you. You could have it write all your copy for you. You could have it produce video now for you, do voiceovers. I mean, the sky's the limit.
I had a guy on a couple of weeks ago, and he was an SEO expert. And he's like, you know what? You got to be careful with that stuff because Google's going to catch on. And they're going to be like, anything that's AI, they might just drop it down. They're talking, you know, you hear it in the scuttlebutt that they may drop it down and they're looking for original content. I haven't seen it yet, but you never know, right?
I mean, will they do that? Will they not do that? I look at it this way, and no offense, Google, but much like any big business like that, they just want to see the dollar signs. If the dollar signs are rolling in, they don't care who's writing the content.
True.
If the dollar signs are coming in, they don't care.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. They just want to know that the dollars are rolling in.
True.
So it's much like any business. A lot of businesses will prostitute themselves out there if it means they're going to make a little bit more money. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about that if I'm listening to this right now.
Yeah.
I would say I'd be worried more about my own reputation. I'd be worried more about losing my identity, losing my own branding. Yeah. You know, and I know you play heavily in the video space, and there's something to be said about that. I mean, you can replace it to a degree, but not to a complete degree.
Well, I got to tell you, I did one thing. You know, we use it for a lot of like descriptions for videos, things of that nature, and optimizing the podcast. Yeah. You know,
right?
But I tried it one thing. I put it in ChatGPT and I said, hey, you know what? Dan Portick, you know, Cleveland, Ohio, write my profile. Well, to my amazement, I apparently am good friends with Martin Scorsese, and I was part director on the Titanic. Really?
Right.
You know, it's made it up. You know, once it's off the word, you can't think on its own yet, but you have to give it a lot of direction, and it does do some pretty cool stuff. So neat stuff.
And that's a huge point you're making, and a huge caution to everybody out there listening that you have to fact check these things. They're only as intelligent as whatever fed it over time. And remember, humans were the one who fed the internet. So humans, the imperfect species we are, we're going to feed bad information out there. So, and there may be more than one Dan out there. There might be 5 people. There might be 100 people with, absolutely. So it's going to make mistakes, and it's up to you. It's up to us to make sure that we're fact checking and that we're recognizing what we're putting out there. And that's big for your reputation. So, right, which is critically important to marketing yourselves these days, as well as many other things, right?
Oh, yeah. So tell me a little bit about who your perfect customer would be.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it this way. I mean, there's a lot of niches we do serve, and, we play very hard with most service businesses. We focus mostly on service businesses, but we span across numerous verticals, let's say, right? I look at that top 10%, the cream of the crop. These are the growth-minded entrepreneurs, the ones that know they're destined for more, the ones that know that they want to grow, that they ultimately want to scale something bigger, right? That they know they're going to need technologies like automation and AI in order to get there, that know they're going to need a methodology and systems and controls and so on and so forth to be able to build something that makes sense.
Right.
Building that modern day company. So it's that top 10% across service industries that we play very hard with.
Gotcha. So what do you see in from the average customer that comes to you? What are these, what's, here's my problem. What do you see like that? I mean, what are some of the problems you're seeing with, small to medium-sized businesses, let's say?
Right. Well, there's certainly no shortage of problems. But a lot of problems really stem down to a few things, rather. One of the biggest problems I see is lack of vision. People don't know what they want and why they want it. They don't know where they're going and why. They tend to just go with the flow. Oh, so-and-so is doing this now, so I got to go do that now. No, you don't. It's like you've got to figure out what it is you want, and you got to have a real clear why. On why that's important for you to get it. Because if you don't have a clear why, let me give you a hint, you're probably not going to get it. You're not attached to it enough in order for you to go after it hard enough to get it. Because this game we call entrepreneurialism is all about your stickiness, how much you stick to it. It's like playing a musical instrument. I mentioned to you offline that I play drums, right? I've been playing drums for 40 years, right? If I didn't, and I tried to just pick it up today and tried to play a very complex piece, good luck. It's probably not going to happen. So much like playing a musical instrument, being an entrepreneur is very similar. You have to have that ability to stick to the game and realize that you're going to make mistakes, right? You're going to mess up here and there. It's how you recover from it that makes a lot of the difference. So it starts with knowing what you want, why you want it. And then the next big thing I would say is having a game plan. Having a proper strategy. Now, every strategy is not the same. Every strategy has lots of variables. And one of them is you. You're the main variable. If it's your company, it's like, right, if you let's say you help people out with video, and the person that you're trying to help out can't stand being on camera. That's like a fear of death for some people, right? So it's like, is it the right solution? Right? Is it the right solution for them? Maybe not for them in particular, but we might then suggest to them, hey, maybe you want to bring somebody on your team that is camera friendly.
Or a person.
Yes, right. Or a spokesperson. Exactly. Companies do it all the time. So it's where there's a will, there's a way, is what we'll always say. But understanding that you got to have a great strategy. You got to have a strategy that you're willing to stick to. And so our biggest challenges today that we see, number one, is all the clutter out there. There's so many pseudo experts. Everybody seems to know what's best for you. This is what you need to be doing. This is how it goes. And every week it's different flavor. So, but meanwhile, I've been around this game long enough to know that, you know what? The more the things change, the more they stay the same. And it's like a lot of the basics, you got to get back to the basics. Right? It's not about being fancy, grabbing the sexiest fad that's going on right now. If you suck at AI, be careful what you do with AI. Do the thing you're good at. Pick up the damn phone and call somebody.
Right.
So the biggest challenges we have is all the distraction. that's around us. So a lot of times I'm getting, a lot of my job is getting people to hyper focus and really just hone in on what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that you need to be doing that are going to move the needle to get you from where you are to where you say you want to be.
Yeah. Small victories.
Those small victories, and you got to move them, but they have to be able to see it.
Yeah.
If they can't see where they're going, there's no shot of them getting there. Yeah. They'll end up somewhere, but it's probably not where they wanted to be.
It'll be where somebody else wants them to be.
Yes, exactly. Somebody else's interpretation. Exactly.
Hey, so this podcast is all about video production, with our company. So let me ask you this. I have one question about that in this whole thing. So how are your customers using video, and how are you using it? Or are you? Or what are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm just, to me,
I see you online. I see you with all the podcasts and everything.
Oh yeah, I'm an early adopter of video. I'm probably an early adopter of YouTube. Yeah. Maybe even before their transition to Google, when Google bought them out. But it goes back a long way. I'm the one who sees writing on the wall. The writing was on the wall that things are going there.
Yeah.
If we look at society, most people are visual by nature. So to fight against video would be asinine. Yeah. It just is. You have to find out how to use it, how to leverage it properly in your business. I don't care what business it is. There's a piece and a fit for it somewhere. Now, as for me, I use it in all aspects of my business. Yeah. It's in all my communications, whether those communications are internal or external. So let's say I need to communicate something to my assistant. I don't need to wait till I could set up a meeting with my assistant. I get up and I shoot a video real quick. Hey, this is what's going on here. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Check this out. Look at this. Do this. Make sure this happens. Here's what we need to make happen today. Fine.
That is such a great idea. You don't think about that part, but you can use it internally.
Right.
No doubt. We're going to make marketing videos, but really it makes so much sense, right?
Absolutely.
Whatever they want or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. Now, I use it externally in that same manner with clients. I use it all the time. So it's like if we're working on a project together, sometimes I don't want to get on a call with them and waste 5 hours to talk through something when I could shoot a 5-minute video, send that over, and that's all they really needed. Because a lot of times with those client meetings, they tend to get distracted. They're off. Oh, well, what about this? And what about, no, it's not part of this discussion today. Yeah. This video I shot for you is to just explain to you what we just did, or what you need to know about this, or what your next step is, or what we need from you next. So we use it a lot in our communications. Yeah. We use it very heavily in our marketing. So I'm pumping out videos constantly every week, whether they're shorts or whether they're long videos. I'm on video podcasts constantly because I believe that nothing will ever sell you better than people being able to see your eyes,
right,
and see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And most of us, we could see if somebody's a bullshitter or if they're not a bullshitter. You can kind of see. Some of us can anyway, but a lot of us can better than we think we can.
Right.
And you could see in somebody's face if they look like they're lying, chances are they might be. Yeah. So video can be very exposing in that way, right, and very telling in that way. Mm-hmm. So we use it a lot in our marketing. We use it a lot when we create systems. Yeah. A lot of what we do in business is systematizing things. So it's like, instead of just writing down words, sometimes, video, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, imagine what a video is worth, because a video is way more powerful than a picture. Right. So when we're creating systems, instead of us, and we use it in our training and with our clients too, it's like, instead of just saying, hey, this is what you need to do, it's like, hey, let me show you.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to do, and watch me do it first, and then you do it next. So those are a couple of examples. And we're big fans of not only practicing what we preach, but making sure we preach what we practice. So we use it in the ways that I'm mentioning here and more. And so we're often recommending that to our clients, saying, hey, you ought to consider using tools like this for this. Here's some ideas that on how you can leverage this and buy more of your time back. Be a little smarter about it. And the big payoff could be a big payoff.
Right.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. So what do you think of the future advertising? I mean, let's look at like 2 years down the road. Who knows what next year's?
I know.
Right?
I know, it's insane.
We're talking about, where's the puck going to be? How do we know it's even going to be a puck, right?
That's right. Yeah. And that is a hugely, it's funny, but it's not in a way, because you're absolutely correct. We don't know what it's going to bring, but what I can tell you is it's not going to be what it looks like right now. That's for certain. And I can tell you that if you don't get great at marketing and finding a way to differentiate yourself, you will lose this game, because there's always going to be somebody out there who's going to outposition you, outmarket you, out-influence you, right? Those who know how to use these tools, like video isn't going anywhere. Video is going to be here. But what are you going to see? You're going to see a lot of fake video going on. You're going to see a lot of bots creating video with not real people. And eventually, they'll fool people in the beginning, but eventually people are going to start to pick up on that. And there's going to be a real authenticity, a real old-fashionedness to somebody actually getting in front of a camera and seeing a real person.
Yeah.
And so there'll always be that respect. It's like, as a musician, it's like appreciating a set of vintage drums over an electronic drum set. It's a bit of a different vibe. They're both great. They both have their space. But for those of us who prefer the vintage, you're always going to find people who prefer vintage. So you'll find your tribe.
I can't tell you, because we're both musicians, and it's funny.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many drummers, it's the feel of a real drum.
Yes.
The bounce,
definitely.
They can try to make that change, but they can't quite get it, right?
It feels like something real versus a toy.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. I'll always prefer vintage myself. And I like the nuances that come with the real instrument, the wood, the different tones you get when the drum heads get a little worn, and you could feel and see the difference, and your ability to navigate that when you're trying to get a certain sound. Right. As a guitar player, if your strings are old and you still need to get a certain sound, if you're a veteran player, you could make anything sound great.
Yeah.
You know how to navigate it.
Right.
The world that's coming will be a lot more forgiving. It's like auto-tune, like vocalists using auto-tune now.
In concerts. Unbelievable.
It's crazy. And it's like, you know what? You'll have some of that in the business world.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of us who are going to know the difference.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of us that are going to prefer the person who actually knows how to do this stuff the old-fashioned way and the better way. And I'm a technology guy saying this.
Right.
So we shouldn't lose sight of what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
Because your audience wants to connect with you. They don't want to connect with AI.
Right.
Because then they don't need you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to make sure that you're continuing to make yourself relevant, no matter what it is. Now, video is a huge way of doing that. If you're not on video by now, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Find your way there and start practicing. I guarantee you, after you shoot your first 20 videos, it's going to start getting a lot more comfortable. After you pass 100, you're going to be very comfortable. Pass 1,000, it's a no-brainer at that point. It's like me, I could do it in my sleep now. Right. There's no more fear around it. There's no more, you just become yourself again.
Yeah. Well, what we see, it's funny, as of this past year, maybe a year and a half, we really haven't gone out on video shoots very often. Everything is sent to us from around the country. Make it look good. Make it, put a brand to it. It's funny how that's changed. Everybody takes their we don't mind an iPhone video. We'll make that work. We should B-roll with iPhones sometimes. Hey, one camera busy. Let's put and it works. It does. Technology's
right.
So
so it's finding a balance. I would say of sometimes you need higher quality, and sometimes you just need to get the point out quick.
Yep.
And there's no substitute for speed.
Right.
Unless you're sacrificing too much quality and too much of your soul to get it.
Yeah.
Exactly
right.
It's like, and I'll equate things to music all the time because as a musician, I always do. And it's like when you listen to that soulful singer and they just have that that vibe. You can't replicate that. I don't care what you do or who you put. How many people have tried to sing like that and they just can't?
Yeah.
If somebody has that, they have that. It's like you're saying with a guitar, right? You'll hear a certain guitar player and you may resonate with the way they play a lead to a song,
right.
And that vibe they put out there, and they could just make notes, speak and sing. And it's just, oh man, it moves me, you know, even in his day as a musician, but as a lover of music, as a lover of the game.
Yeah, and some of the most successful guitar players or musicians in general aren't necessarily the most technically advanced, you know?
Absolutely.
Just got
Agreed.
Feeling. They just got a feeling, and that makes a huge difference, you know?
No doubt. And then you get those guys that'll whip through, like, you know, they'll play every arpeggio and every single, you know, that's all fun and great, and they'll play it at supersonic speed. And it's like you listen to a lot of newer, heavier music these days, and you got drummers playing 30-second notes. Some even sound like they're playing 64th notes, which is almost impossible.
Yeah.
But
kick drums.
Yeah, exactly. At some point, it's not even listenable.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's impressive that you can do that, but there's no feeling to it.
Yeah. Exactly
anymore.
Right.
And that's where we have to be careful when I say things like losing your soul. You know, it goes the same in business like this. We have to make sure that we're maintaining our identity. We're maintaining that something that makes us unique, that's going to attract our audience to us.
Right. Right.
As opposed to, well, they could just replace you with this company because you look and sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because you're using the same tools, using the same AI technology. You're both using ChatGPT. Well, yeah, duh, you're going to sound similar.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
When I speak, I don't sound like ChatGPT when I speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the tools are getting smarter. And you have to learn how to use them smarter. You can train those tools. So now I could feed ChatGPT a transcript of this video, let's say, and I could tell it, this is my brand voice. Now write me an article on this topic using the brand voice I just fed you. And now it'll sound a little bit better like me. So where there's a will, there's a way. So you got to,
because that's almost exactly what we're going to be doing.
Fantastic. And that's, you know, absolutely. It's whatever you're going to do it great or don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't dabble in AI from the stand. Yeah, you could play with it as a toy or whatever. If you're going to use it in your business, you better make sure that you're dabbling with it enough to make sure that you know what you're doing and that you're going to come across properly to your audience. Understand that, you know, you got to make sure you're doing it right or be careful doing it, period.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
So someone coming into this industry, someone new right out of high school, let's say, or college, you know, whatever it might be, what would you suggest to them? What would you give them as a roadmap to start in the business world?
Right. That's a very open-ended question, and I'll give you a couple of different angles to it. First, I wouldn't suggest doing things like I did. And there are a lot of things that I did that, while seemingly were the right things, like I've read over 1,000 business books. And I don't say that to brag. I say that just to be clear that one of my biggest problems is I read over 1,000 business books. And you get 1,000 different perspectives, 1,000 different angles on how to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you get so much overwhelm. You don't know what, and you end up doing nothing.
Yeah.
So you don't need to read 1,000 books, right? You need to have one strategy, and you need to follow that and run it hard. Become great at that strategy. So it is about a long game. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for the quick fix and the Band-Aids and the magic pills, that's all crap. Don't listen to that. AI is not going to save the day for you. It's just not the way it works. You have to pick something and you have to run with it, and you have to stay with it long enough so that you master it and you become the go-to person for that particular thing that you're looking to offer your audience. Now, one of our methodologies is called Clone the Owner. And when I speak about it, I tell people, if you resonate with this, this is the methodology you should follow. Don't read 20 other books and get 20 other people's methodologies. This methodology works. I've proved it with almost 20,000 hours of coaching. I've used this with a lot of businesses for the last several decades. Yeah. We know it works. If it resonates with you, this is all you need. Just follow it. It's like paint by numbers.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need 20 different methodologies.
Right.
So clutter is going to be, and distraction is going to be your biggest enemy going forward. So it's about picking something that resonates with you, a strategy that resonates, a couple of marketing tactics that resonate. So if you love video, you should be all over video. There's 90,000 different ways you can use video. Pick a couple that you resonate with and use it to the hilt. Like I do. I use video everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's not just about doing a video once a year. Then you're not really using video, are you? You know, so you find the things that are easy for you. Like video is easy for me. I love, you know, put me on camera. I'm happy here all day.
Yeah.
No problem. You know, not everybody's like that, but I am. So I find my strengths and then I leverage those strengths, you know, into one simple strategy, you know, and that's what I stick with. And I run with it. I run with it. And you tweak along the way, but beware the distractions. You know, so
and the negative,
everybody,
and the people that come back and say it can't be done, because that's probably the biggest killer of most entrepreneurs. You know, they only can take so much, but it has to be a do or die, right? It has to be like there are no other options. This is the only option I can take, no matter what.
Yeah, for many, absolutely. Not all of us were born with the silver spoon in the mouth, so to speak. Not all of us were born with an unlimited bank account or unlimited time in our life. You know, it is about, again, it's about being very strategic and being very smart. And if you're smart, don't do like I did. I came out of college and I thought I was smart as anything, and then I went it alone. Business is not a one-man sport. It was never meant to be.
Yeah.
Right? Your ability to build a team is what's going to differentiate whether or not you do well or you don't.
Yep.
The one word in the colonial owner methodology that we talk about all the time is leverage. You have to find the leverage points in your business. And I'm not talking just financial leverage.
Yeah.
I'm talking about leverage in your business, getting more of your time back.
Yeah.
And putting other leverage points in your business so that you can grow and scale.
True.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's great stuff, man. I just got a whole earful today, man. And I know our guests are going to do the same way. They're going to be like, wow, this is great. No, it's super. So, Dean, how can people reach you?
Sure. Yes, my company's the onlinemarketingmuscle.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on, you know, I don't play on a lot of social media anymore. So I find a lot of it clutter, you know, as I'm mentioning. So I pare it down. But you can go to deanmercado.com and that'll point you to everywhere that I am. Yeah. That's probably the easiest thing is deanmercado.com.
I find that you make your name the .com and everything falls through that.
Absolutely. That's my gateway. That's my portal to everything that I do and touch. It just makes life easier.
Awesome. Hey, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'd like to add for any of those entrepreneurs out there that are considering really embracing entrepreneurialism, go for it. Don't sit on the fence any longer. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. You know, the younger you start at this, the easier it is. I mean, I think about children, how fast they adopted and adapted technology, right? They whip around on their phones like it's nothing. For us who were a little older, it was a little bit more of a learning curve, you know, to adapt all these. So you should consider entrepreneurship. Not everybody's meant to be one, but if you are and you don't go for it, you'll forever be kicking yourself in the rear end. Why didn't I? Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Don't live a life of woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Right? But get help. Don't go it alone. Go out there, get a coach, get a mentor. Work with somebody as soon as you can.
Yeah.
You know, I spent a couple of years spending hundreds of thousands of dollars wasted because I was too bold, too much ego, saying, oh, I could figure it out on my own. Yeah. But you're either going to use too much time or too much money.
Yeah.
Which one do you have more of? If you have a lot of time on your hands, okay, fine, learn it on your own. If you have more time than money, fine. But that's usually not the case. If you spend a little money up front, get that coach, get that mentor, a little up front, you'll shave years of pain off of your life.
So true.
You know, and I'm speaking from a hardcore experience. That's why I became a coach.
Yeah.
Was because I went through so much pain. I'm like, man, if I could just save one other entrepreneur from going through what I went through,
yeah,
that would be worth it to me.
Wow,
you know,
that's fantastic. So true. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming in our show today. We'll have this out in a couple of weeks, and everybody will be able to see all the great things that you were talking about today. So thanks again. Really appreciate you being on the show.
Dan, it was my pleasure, man. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's face it, everybody loves to make podcasts and vodcasts, but nobody wants to edit them. Well, except for us. At Premier Podcast Productions, we professionally edit and distribute podcasts and vodcasts for companies around the world. Our process is simple and affordable, allowing you to stay focused on what you do best, developing great content and building your subscriber base. From recording and editing to final distribution and marketing, we can help every step of the way to make your podcast stand out and get the results it deserves. Contact us today at premierpodcastpros.com to take your podcast to the next level.